Hey, good morning, everyone. Where are we? All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the KSL STREAM CENTER. I'm Shara Park. Hey, we've got something really cool to talk about here today in the STREAM Center. We've got this incredible resource here at KSL. Of course, we've got Chopper 5, the only news helicopter in this market that can take us to places you can't even imagine, and really gives us such a great insight into what is happening in our community from a different angle, way up above, high above in the air. I've been in the chopper many, many times, and I am lucky to have with us here our pilot. This is a pretty rare opportunity where we get to peek behind the scenes with. There he is, our Chopper 5 pilot, Ben Tidswel. Ben, first of all, we don't often get to see your face. So I'm really excited about this. I know you're probably a little nervous, not sure what I'm going to ask you here today, but welcome into the KSL Stream Center. Welcome to being in front of the camera for just a few moments for us. And give me a little bit about you. Tell us about your experience as a pilot, Ben.
15th year with KSL flying. Prior to that, I'd done a little bit of work down in southern Louisiana. Got my license back in 2004, I think it was. And prior to that, I was involved in snow sports and sports administration, principally in the Western US, and was working up at Snow Basin during the Olympics when I decided it was time to move on and do something else, and I've been flying ever since.
Okay, I missed the first part with your audio there. So, how long have you been a pilot?
17 years. Well, 17 years with KSL and going on 20 and a half total.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Ben, what has this pilot or what has this experience as a pilot of Chopper 5 been like for you? I mean, what does this helicopter do? What can it do?
Fundamentally, a way for us to see all of Utah in a tremendous way. Um, I'm very, very lucky to have this opportunity, and I totally respect that. We travel the whole state, we travel states around us as well. Frankly, not many other people do get to see because they're stuck driving from point A to point B when we can cut across and fly over mountains or deserts or lakes or whatever. So we do get to see a lot of incredible stuff, and I'm very, very lucky to basically get paid to sightsee sometimes. I mean, we're certainly gathering news, but there are times where we get to see a lot of amazing stuff. This is an amazing state.
This is an incredible piece of equipment that we have here to be able to tell stories when it comes to news here in Utah. Tell me a little bit about where you have been able to take this helicopter.
You know, we can cover the entire state. We are somewhat dependent on where we can land legally. We obviously, first off, we want to make sure that it's legal to go land somewhere, but there are some performance limitations where landing up above 10, 11,000 feet is a bit of a struggle with this aircraft. But luckily, that's not something we really need to do because we're mostly covering stuff from the air. In terms of our ability to get around, we've been as far west as Burning Man, so 60, 70 miles away from Reno. Been up to Yellowstone, covered the flooding a couple of summers ago up in Yellowstone. So clear all the way up to the Montana-Wyoming state line. Been down in Shiprock, Arizona, and down in the New Mexico kind of area. And then out into Colorado, not as much into western Colorado, but definitely a little bit out there as well. So we have the ability to go practically anywhere and cover practically anything. And you see that a lot when we're flying around in the summertime covering fires or wintertime up in the mountains looking at various things that happen up there.
Wow. Real quick, just curious, what has been your favorite place to visit? We're working on trying to get some of our video to play here to show folks where this helicopter can go. Where has been your favorite place to take Chopper 5?
There's probably too many to list, but everywhere from Bear Lake all the way down to Lake Powell in Utah is just stunning. And everything is stunning. And the thing is that it's too difficult to say, well, this is the best spot because there are a million best spots. Um, it's not really a bad thing to come back in the late evening or the late afternoon, early evening and see the sunsets across the lake. there are just a million best spots and best places in this state.
You've taken me to places I never thought I would get to. I sometimes stopping on top of mountain peaks, and I like it just shocks me how you're able to maneuver this aircraft. What do people need to realize about Chopper 5 when they see Chopper 5 flying up above? What would you hope that they recognize from on the ground?
Something's going on. And that we're there to cover the news or to show people what is happening in this state. And I get it. It's a helicopter. It's not the quietest thing in the world, so we don't try to spend too much time in any one spot that will end up annoying people. But we are covering the news, and sometimes that does require spending a little longer in one spot or another. But it's generally a good example that something's happening that's worth taking notice of.
I can remember the one time you threw me, not threw me, you didn't throw me anywhere.
I didn't throw you anywhere.
You flew me over my son's soccer practice as we were on our way back home from a story once, and that was a highlight of his day. Ben, we've got some really cool things. We're trying to work, our video's frozen here. I don't know what's going on with it. So we're working on that, trying to get this to play right now. It might pop up if it takes over our feed for just a second. We're resetting a few things here, but we've got these incredible cameras on Chopper 5, and these are very expensive, very high definition cameras. Tell me a little bit about these cameras, Ben.
Yeah, well, we run a number of different cameras. The main one is the nose camera, and that is a 40 power zoom digital television camera. 40 power zoom in our neck of the woods is something around a 500 millimeter zoom lens. It gives us the ability to be a long, long, long way away from something and zoom in and get a very up close picture. Because there are certainly times where we cannot get particularly close to something. The other side of that is the lens technology is amazing, and it's also at the wide open end. It gives us the ability to get, rather than quite narrow pictures of something very, very wide, which in terms of scenery and looking at the beauty of the state allows us to do a lot of stuff. I mean, you've got some stuff going on at the moment. That was up in Bear Lake here. I think it was just after Christmas we went up there. And as Bear Lake freezes over, the ice forms up and the wind blows it and tends to blow it mostly southbound, and it gets pushed up against the south shore there. And you get these just weird ice formations that build up. And we're flying around at 800, 1,000 feet up and almost a half mile away, and we can zoom in and see stuff really, really closely, which is fantastic. And it allows us to be a little bit further away and cause less of a nuisance.
Well, this is a video I want to bring up with you, Ben. Okay, so this is one of the most popular videos we have that has gone up on our YouTube page that people, and here's why. They were really critical, saying that we were disturbing their herd. But explain to folks how far away you are. Look at right there from that herd. There's no disturbance to that herd.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. Wild animals are going to do wild animal things. There's no doubt at all. In this particular instance, we were able to spot the wild animals in the first place because they were actually moving up the hillside while we were still 2 or 3 miles away. And that's when we brought the camera around and started to zoom in on them. And we did a big wide loop around them. And I understand too. These are wild animals. We, especially in the wintertime, we don't want to stress them. We don't want to run them. They can run out of energy and end up dying in the spring. So it's really important to us that we respect what we have in terms of animals and wildlife in general, and also the terrain that we have, the wonderful geological features that we have in the state. And it does allow us, because we're more mobile, because we're further away from the road, to see a lot of things that most people just don't experience. And that's why I like to try to get these kinds of shots to bring them to people, because they wouldn't see them otherwise.
It's absolutely breathtaking when you're up in the helicopter. So, Ben, when I go with you, explain to people where I get to be and how reporters work themselves into this. Because you took me up to see this herd, what was it, a couple weeks ago? We were doing a live story on the herd that kept coming down into Salt Lake. How do the photographer and the reporter go along with you?
Well, over my shoulder, you can see the helicopter back here. And we have a rear section to the helicopter and a front section to the helicopter. we fly the aircraft from the front. There's two seats. There's a co-pilot seat that the controls are taken out of, and then the pilot seat. And then in the rear of the aircraft is the main cabin area. And in that main cabin area is where we have the photographer sitting for the most part, because it has all of the controls to run the camera system, to run all of the microwave transmission systems that allow us to feed video back live. Now, we do have the capability of putting a reporter in the back seat, but it's often more convenient and easier
Shara
to.
doesn't like to be in the back seat.
No, well, you get a better view up front. I mean, come on, that's for sure. So we do
Yeah,
we
it's
put the
called
reporter
it's
up
called
in the front.
princess riding in the chopper.
Yeah, well, there you go. And so we have a talent camera that looks at where you're sitting and lights to make sure everything's illuminated and whatnot, and then a
Yeah.
monitor that you can look at to see what the main nose camera is looking at as well. And all of that technology is just allowing us and you as a reporter to see what's going on and to be able to report appropriately on everything that's happening.
It's absolutely incredible. Every time I get into the helicopter, by the way, I love flying with Ben. He is probably one of the only people I will trust to fly with because he is so skilled in this profession. But I love being in the helicopter with Ben, and he is able to show us things that you wouldn't be able to see anywhere else, which is incredible. If you're watching on our Facebook page, if you have any questions for Ben, again, this is a pretty rare opportunity where we get to see Ben and talk to him about this incredible job that he does. And so if you have questions for him, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll be watching for that as well. We can ask him those questions. But one thing I notice with Ben is when we get up in Chopper 5, when he's not dropping his phone on us.
Yeah, I've got it all wedged here perfectly, and then it falls over on us.
Don't worry, things like that don't happen in the helicopter. But when
It's
we're up
live. It's live TV.
it is live. Things happen. But when we get up in the helicopter, Ben can find wildlife everywhere. He knows exactly where to find it, which is incredible. Because I guess it's because you're up there so much, you just know. But this is a good example, Ben. There's so many times we're up and you find these bald eagles or you find the elk herd. But tell me a story about this eagle, because I understand this eagle almost flew into you guys.
Well, we have a lot of wildlife along the Wasatch Front. This is up north a little bit, just south of Brigham City. And the bald eagles will roost up in the mountains and then come down over the salt flats and feed, soar a little bit, and then head back to their roost later in the day. And so we just happened to catch this one that was in a thermal, and he or she, difficult to tell, was soaring up, and so we just stopped and tried to follow it a little bit. Our photographers are really, really good. This is not an easy thing to do when you have a moving helicopter and a moving animal that you really don't know where they're going and what they're going to do. And it helps to have such fantastic photographers that are able to get us these shots. And there are a lot of bald eagles along the Wasatch Front. Typically, as spring wears on and we get into summer, they disappear off, and then they come back again in the fall, and we see them around in the wintertime a little bit more. And it's wonderful because they're masters of the sky, and they really don't care that much about any aircraft or anything else that are around. They just don't have a fear of that. So for us, A, we have to be safe, because as we're flying point A to point B, we don't want to hit them. But B, it gives us a great opportunity as they're out and about to be able to, again, show people something that they probably wouldn't otherwise see.
That's incredible. To see these flying from the air when you're up at their level, it's absolutely beautiful. But what's funny, I'm going to tell people, I'll be out with Ben and I'll say, Ben, find me an eagle. And he'll be like, okay. And within a few minutes, he has spotted one nesting up on a telephone pole or something. You have the eye for it, which is absolutely amazing to find this wildlife here in Utah. But I want to ask you a couple questions before I jump into our Chopper 5360 series that we have here. Tell me a little, or our viewers here, about the safety in the helicopter, right? So when you're in the air, tell me the things that you're watching for here in this valley. We have had a lot of aviation issues across the country right now. So tell me about that safety and what you're doing when you're in the helicopter, what you're looking for, and how you keep yourself safe there.
Well, that's our greatest concern. We need to be completely safe. Otherwise, we really shouldn't be doing anything that is unsafe. And everything that we do, from the maintenance and the pre-flight inspections and the post-flight inspections and checking weather and checking winds, is all predicated on can we go out and perform the mission that we need to in a safe manner and make sure that we don't have anything exciting going on? That's what we want. Clearly, because we're in a city and we're in close proximity to an international airport, in our case, Salt Lake International, there is a lot of traffic going in and out of Salt Lake International, but there's actually also a lot of aviation traffic that is passing through the valley, going to the other airports that are within the valley and outside of the valley. And a huge amount of what we're doing when we're actually up in the air is looking outside. Yeah, okay, obviously we're looking for wildlife and we're looking for stories and whatnot, but being aware of the surroundings and the other aircraft that are in our vicinity or maybe coming into our vicinity so that we can make sure that we're avoiding them before we ever get to a point where there is the possibility of a conflict. So with regards to things that have happened recently, that's number one. A lot of the flying that we do is in uncontrolled airspace, which means we're not in communication with the control tower. And at that point in time, there are frequencies that you self-report. This is my location and this is what I'm planning on doing. And you're listening for other people who are doing the same thing, self-reporting what their intentions are and where they are. So that's a part of it. Another portion of it is we have to be very cognizant of weather, both summertime and wintertime, that we don't get into a situation where we're flying somewhere that we can't come back from, or that we're flying in an area where winds and turbulence are so bad that they could cause an issue with the aircraft. So there's a lot of sort of, we say flying 2 or 3 minutes ahead of yourself. Where's the aircraft going to be in a few minutes?
Yeah.
And what am I going to run into there? And if it's not good, should we even be doing that kind of thing?
What
So
absolutely
it's
keeps you
important.
grounded? I'm curious. I know
Yeah.
for me, when I'm with you, heavy wind and severe rain for sure.
Yeah. Well, we have a much greater capability in the aircraft than we typically go fly in, simply because we want to have a big safety margin. And we want to make sure that everybody's coming back safe and sound and enjoying the experience so that they'll come and do it again. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? I've always felt safe flying with you. I've never questioned it, which is what I appreciate about you the most. Is you really take safety very, very seriously. Ben, one thing we have been doing with Chopper 5 is we've got this great YouTube 360 that you guys have launched. Tell folks what that is and how this came. I mean, I'll show it. I'll navigate it as you're talking about it. But I was blown away at what the helicopter could do with this 360. So explain to folks what that is.
Well, you know, GoPro action cameras came along and technology got better and better and videos got better and better. And it sort of got to the point where we realized, hey, we've got the opportunity here to really give people a tour of what we're doing as we're flying along and try to allow people to see UTAR as we see it, rather than just out of the small portion of the nose camera. We were able to go ahead and mount a 360 camera on, and we're still exploring sort of how it all works and where things go and what the best way to do it is. But some of the results we've had have been really, really fun and intriguing to see it from a perspective that allows people to really get more than a bird's eye view, an immersive view of UTAR as we're flying around. And the 360 camera is basically 2 cameras mounted back to back, each looking different direction, and then the whole image is stitched together so that you can literally look in any direction and see anything. And about the only 2 spots you can't, I think, is dead straight up and dead straight down, due to the little black spots there. But it's part and parcel of how fantastic UTAR is, and it gives us a much, much more in-depth view, and it allows us to show our viewers a much more in-depth view of what UTAR has to offer. And it's been incredible, and I suspect it's going to be something that's going to be really very popular because it is such a different look that really allows people to look around and see, you know, as we're going, what things are like.
I mean, I'm blown away by this. I'm controlling this right now. So if you're watching this, people, I am moving the cursor around. This is on our YouTube channel on KSL News, and there is a tab there. You'll go to the chopper. I'll actually pull it up here. There's a playlist. Let me show these guys. So there's this Chopper 360. Is this the Moab to Lake Powell that I was looking at there? And so you go to
Yes.
our KSL TV page, you can click on these different adventures. Let's start right here, the snowy skies. This is literally launching from the airport there in North Salt Lake Woods Cross area, Sky Park, and Chopper 5 taking us on a journey. And you can move it 360, which, Ben, this is wild.
It's something that I never really thought we'd ever get to, and to have this ability is simply fantastic. And again, it sort of comes back to, I get it. We have the ability to show Utah to residents, to people around the world, frankly, in a way that we'd never been able to before. And this gives them.
Oh, Ben just took a call. He just took a call. He'll join us again. Ben, if you're listening still, he'll jump on here just a second. So I'm going to pull this back up. We'll show this to you here. This is the 360 camera.
Oh,
You're there.
you go. Yeah, sorry.
You're fine. I knew you'd come back. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is something, Ben, truthfully, I have never seen in this capacity before. What did it take to be able to do this?
Well, a bit of imagination to start off with. We've had a similar situation with some of the other technologies that we've used. We have a system called LiveView, which allows us to collect video and then send it back via cell phone signal. And when that system first popped up, we took a look at that and said, hey, well, why can't we use it in a helicopter when we're out flying around? And we were one of the first programs to do that. And this is just a similar kind of a thing. The technology exists. Let's figure out how we can adapt to it and use it that allows our viewers to see things that they wouldn't otherwise see. What you're looking at now is down by the potash ponds down in Moab, heading southbound and down the Colorado River. And it is simply fantastic to be able to see some of this stuff. And, it's a pleasure to be able to gather it and know that there are people who are going to see it and enjoy it.
Well, I think it's absolutely amazing. It's stunning. We hope people will go to our KSL TV or KSL News Facebook page or our YouTube page. We've got the channel Chopper 360. You can pull these up. Ben, how long are some of these? Is this something people could be putting on in the background of their businesses, in their lobbies, that they can show this off?
100%. We're still exploring the best way to present it, but there are videos that are relatively short, 10, 12 minutes, even shorter, 2 or 3 minutes. But I think what we're going to try to do is have stuff that is on for an extended period of time, 25, 30 minutes. In the case of us flying down to Lake Powell, we had to go across the Moab to do some stuff first, and then headed all the way down to Lake Powell. And the whole trip really ended up being about 3 hours worth of flight time. Now, in this particular instance, we set it up on a hyperlapse, so it's actually sped up considerably. But in the future, I think we're probably just going to let it play at regular speed so that people can see it and enjoy it, because there is a lot of really beautiful spots in Utah.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. I'm just blown away at this. And right now, the 360, we've got 6 different ones up there. We've got the Emery County to Moab Canyonlands. I want to click on this. Oh, there we go. It's that easy to get on, and then you can just navigate these on your YouTube page. It's not like you have to go to another program. You get to just jump in there and navigate these as you go. So very, very cool opportunity to experience Chopper 5 in a way that perhaps we've never been able to explore Chopper 5 before. Ben, I love the comment here. We got one from Connie. Just how awesome. How awesome is this? It really is very, very cool.
Utah is an awesome place, and KSL has spent the money to have this as a resource that allows us to do this kind of thing, and that's what I'm stoked about.
Ben, give folks just a little bit of a background on you again, if they're just joining us. I know folks have asked me, where is Ben from? Because he's got this beautiful accent. Where are you from?
I grew up in New Zealand, but that was a long, long, long time ago.
Not that long ago. Come on.
Yeah, 35 years ago. Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time
No,
ago.
a long time ago. It got a little bit of accent. It's not as strong as some, but no, live here locally and been here for 20 odd years and nowhere better.
Nowhere better. Well, Ben, we appreciate you joining us today. Talk about the amazing things that Chopper 5 can do. I know firsthand being in the chopper with you is one of my favorite things about this job that I do because you get to show me and the rest of Utah some of the most incredible scenery we have in our state. And we do. We have the best
Yes.
scenery between our mountains, our desert landscape. You get down into southern Utah, over into the different like Emery County. We get down into Bryce Canyon. We have it all here, and we want people to realize there are more resources that they can tap into with Chopper 5 than just seeing it on KSL 5 News each evening or in our morning newscast. So go over to the KSL News YouTube page. You will find Chopper 360 there. You'll be able to click on those, explore like you've never seen Utah before through the eyes of not only Chopper 5, but from Ben. Ben takes us all over the state of Utah. So Ben, thank you so much. Next time Chopper 5 is flying over your area, look up, give him a wave. He's always looking around, checking things out. Just know that we're up there for you, trying to bring you news like you've never seen before and the beauty of our state like you've never seen before. So Ben, we'll let you get back to it. We know we've got a big weather day on tap. My guess is you're likely going to be headed up sometime soon to capture some of that before it really rolls in on us. So thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. We'll see you over on KSL 5 News at noon.